Hello, Steeler Nation, and welcome to your SteelerNation.com podcast, sponsored by Total Sports Enterprises. I'm your host, G.Stryker, and fighting in the black shirt and backwards black hat, undefeated middleweight co-host of Steeler Nation, Hunter Homistek.
I love it. Love the intro, dude. And middleweight might be a little like pre-COVID. I think I'm firmly a heavyweight now.
Oh, seriously, you're up to heavyweight. Wow.
Yeah, definitely over 205 right now.
Wow. Yeah, you never know to look at you. This Zoom takes 20 pounds off you.
That's good. That's good.
So looking at this quick, let's go to Total Sports Enterprises. We got a brand new jersey to give away, signed jersey right here at the Total Sports Enterprises Twitter. That's at Total Sports ENT. You go there, you retweet this free Juju Smith-Schuster signed Color Rush jersey. You're entered in for a chance to win. Make sure you're also following Total Sports ENT and _ SN podcast, which is the Steeler Nation podcast. You do that, you get 2 chances to win. We're going to know tomorrow who the winner is. It comes up every week. These guys are awesome, Steeler Nation. I hope you guys are hitting up their site at tseshop.com. I know they've got some a couple Heinz Ward's helmets left for like $115. So they've got specials every day, every Monday after a big win. It's the way to do it. Great thing. And the big touchdown from Juju there, busting through everybody at the goal line. Of course, they highlight it with a free Juju jersey giveaway for this week. So good luck, Steeler Nation, on winning that one.
Good people over there, man. They're always getting like the right guy after a game too for a special. Like Juju is the jersey after that one. So it's awesome. Love it.
Yeah. Yeah, especially since they own everything. It's great.
Yeah, not a bad thing.
So, oh no, I guess there was a Bungles video somebody put up a Bungles video. No, I didn't see the Bungles video yet, but at least for you and me, Hunter, the only thing I can say about this past week's game is I'd rather win ugly than lose pretty. And we all get to enjoy now the first time in Steeler Nation history going 8-0 to start a season, man. How does that feel?
That says it all, dude. I mean, you can talk about how ugly it is, how imperfect it is and has been, how things are right now. But the bottom line is they're 8-0. It doesn't happen by accident in the NFL. It certainly doesn't happen for the Steelers at all until this year. Like you said, first time in franchise history. So it's an amazing achievement. It for sure guarantees absolutely nothing. They got to stay on their game and keep it rolling. But you're 8-0. If you could rewind to the offseason and say, hey, guys, the Steelers are going to start 8-0, are you going to care how it happens? You don't care. It doesn't matter. They're 8-0.
8-0 is all that's needed.
Yeah, right.
Oh, so obviously Ben was the story of the game yet again. Steelers down big early, 13 points early in the game. You know, Ben really didn't come alive, it seemed, until he got his legs broken. It was a weird play, you know, knocked him down. You didn't even know if he was going to be able to walk. I mean, this was like, what was it, Gerard or was it Leftwich, the Jacksonville quarterback that busted his knee and like finished? Was it Leftwich?
Carson Palmer?
No, I'm thinking it might have been Leftwich early on when he first started playing, because I think he did it in college as well, where he hurt his knee and finished the game on one leg. He did it for both in college.
Oh, Leftwich did it for the Jags, yeah.
Yes.
Did you say Bengals or Jaguars? I thought you said Bengals.
I might have. You know me and my COVID head.
I have no idea.
I can't get anything. I've got so much information in this head. I just want to get it out to Steeler Nation as quickly as possible.
Right.
But so Ben, like after that moment, stands back up one leg. I'm watching the game. I'm like, you know, what the hell is he going to do? He just goes 4 for 4 and hits a solid pump and go to Washington for the first touchdown of the game. And that he's got to limp back to the locker room and get everything like locked down and taped up and shot it up. But hell, that was quite a play for him to finish off the half.
Dude, it's crazy that we doubt it, even though we've seen Ben do this so many times throughout his career. It always seems like that he's not bouncing back from this one, or he's not fine. But like you just know he'll find a way. If he can be on the field, he'll keep making plays. So it was weird to doubt it. It was funny that the Steelers get a quick turnover after he goes down the tunnel, and then Mason had to finish out the half. It's like, Ben, get back out there. Get back out. They need you.
I know. I was thinking the exact same thing. But here, I want to do a little bit of a quick film breakdown then of what I just put up today. If I can see it, my gosh, it won't show me all my stuff. When I downsize everything, I can't see the share screen in my Zoom. There it is.
There
Boom.
it is.
Got my
Got
share
it.
screen. So
Bro.
Steeler Nation here watching us live on Facebook. I'm just going to take you through, like we were saying, here's the first play where he got hit and kind of sandwiched, kind of pushed both legs, like did one of these. So his medial collateral on his left leg and his lateral collateral on his right leg looked like they both stretched a little bit. Took the most damage on that left leg. And then he came back out, limping up and started playing some more. I mean, the guy was he was just something else. But I want to take you to one more play later in the game. And let me find it here. Here we go. This is a play where it was 3rd and 10. Or 1st and 10. Actually, I might have the wrong play here. Nope, that was the play after it. Yep, it was 3rd and 10. That was when they got the first down because of this play right here. Let's take it back a skosh. I know I'm really good at this teleprompter thing on Zoom. But right here was the roughing the passer on 3rd and 10, which they failed. He got hit in the face, got hit pretty hard, and that woke him up again because he seemed a little lackluster. Steelers were down by 1 point. Got hit in the head. What did he do on this drive? The same exact thing he did when he busted his knees. He went 4 for 4, finished that drive with a touchdown, and that was that big drive to Juju Smith-Schuster.
Hurting him just activates his full form. It's everybody knows this. You don't hurt Ben Roethlisberger. You wouldn't like him when he's angry.
Exactly. He's like the Incredible Hulk. The more you hurt him, the more you piss him off, the better he gets. And I even said, I did that breakdown for those 2 plays on the hidden plays of the week for Steeler Nation in the article and the video. So watching that is just like watching back in Baltimore when Haloti Ngata gave him like the karate chop to the face and busted his nose in the first quarter. And Ben's like, he shook it off and he's like, he was ready to play then. Anytime Ben gets hit hard, it kind of wakes him up and it's like, okay, he takes it personally. He's like,
tough. He's tough, dude. There's no doubt about it.
There's no question he's a tough man. I mean, did you see the size of the tape job on his knee when he came back out? It was like twice the size. And I don't know if you saw the picture of him so far from yesterday when he had a big wrap on his left knee, a big wrap on his right knee, and then a big wrap on his right elbow as well from just to ice everything down, just keep the swelling down. Because, man, he's starting to take punishment. That was supposed to be our bye week. And in the words of the immortal movie Clerks, we aren't even supposed to be here today.
Nice, dude. Rule number 1 with me. It's funny that it's taken this long for this to come up, but I don't know movies. I don't know quotes at all. Everybody gets furious at me when they make a movie quote, and I'm like, I don't get it. Haven't seen it. But yeah, I never saw Clerks. So sorry, guys. You can roast me in the comments for not seeing Clerks. I'm very used to it. It's okay.
Everybody's got a blind spot, man.
Yeah, see, exactly.
But of course, we've got another Ben game, another Ben, epic achievements this game. 68th 300-yard passing game. He passes Dan Marino for number 6 all time.
Crazy.
On that one. And his 34th comeback win, number 4 all time, passing Marino also and tied with Johnny Unitas.
Not bad. Not bad company all the way around. Marino, as you know, if you follow the show, I think he's the most talented QB to ever play. The best. Maybe not the greatest, but the best. So passing him.
I just wish he was a Steeler. If he was a Steeler, he would have won Super Bowls. He might not have put up all of the big passing marks that he got to do down there, but he would have had Lewis Lips as opposed to Duper. And man, he's just as talented. So it would have been a fun team to watch Marino play with those Steelers, and probably would have won some championships.
I mean, it would have been crazy to go from Bradshaw to Marino. Like, that's not even fair.
Yeah. Yeah. So this week, the top receivers, it kind of got spread around, but it's pretty much the big 3 now, it seems. It's Juju, DJ, and Chase this week got the big catches, though Eric Ebron and James Washington both came through with some big touchdowns. So ball's getting distributed really nicely. Ray's working in the game, some runs. He got a catch. So Ben is just doing a really good job, like we were even talking about, just distributing that football and getting them to everybody.
That's what they got to do. It's been the story of the season. We keep waiting. We keep trying to predict every week who's going to lead in targets, and I don't know that we've been right. I don't really follow up on it, but it's so freaking hard to predict. But that's think about it from the other team's perspective, from
Yeah.
their defensive coordinator's perspective. It's hard for them to predict too. So that's the advantage of it. That's what's making this offense so impossible to contain for a full 60 minutes. I mean, even when things were not good against the Cowboys, there was a part of me that just felt like it was going to click at some point. Like I never seriously felt worried in that game for whatever reason. I mean, being that it was the Cowboys certainly helped, but it just, when you have that many weapons and Ben Roethlisberger under center, like it's got to change at some point. Something's got to give. They obviously figured out the secret sauce when it mattered towards the end. Juju coming up huge. I mean, Juju for me was the standout performer in that game. Just ridiculous game from him. Statistically good, one of his better games of the year, but just the way he's been consistently stepping up on third down when they need a clutch catch. We said it last week that he's just turning into Hines Ward, but man, talk about another step in that direction.
You got it. And you got, like we were talking about the targets, at least for this game, Chase Claypool ended up getting the most targets that game. They were trying to go to him downfield, and since the refs weren't calling tackling Chase Claypool when he's open on a deep pass, he had 13 targets, which was higher than DJ. And DJ's usually the guy that gets the double-digit targets.
Yeah.
But they definitely saw that mismatch. They wanted to go with the height mismatch. They wanted to push that ball downfield. And those, 3 plays downfield could have been flagged.
Yeah,
But to be converse, they kept their hands in their pockets pretty much on all pass interference the entire game. You didn't see, too much of anything pop up. And give another kudos to the offensive line. I mean, even though Ben got hit on that one play, they didn't give up a sack again. Now, 2 games in a row, they didn't give up a sack. So that's huge. That's another huge part. And man, they're going to have to play a lot better down the stretch now that you got an even gimpier Ben, who's not going to be making plays, but hopefully Ben can help him out getting that ball out quickly like he's been doing.
True, man. That would be a huge help. I was pretty worried. The hit that his knee got injured on, when you're watching the broadcast, you could just see the beginning of the hit, and then the camera followed the ball down the field, so you couldn't really see what happened. I thought he was going to get knocked out on that play. The hit to the head was what actually concerned me, to the back of his head.
Yeah.
When he
came back to the other guy.
Yes. I was surprised they didn't call that too. I mean, clearly helmet to helmet from the defender on him. On a quarterback nonetheless. But it is Ben, but he got one back later. So there you go. Can't complain too much. But I'm with you, man. The pass interferences. Chase, it seems like Chase can be one of those guys that Joe Flacco would have just loved. Let me huck it up and you go draw that penalty, because that's what Chase is doing now every time. Like, these guys can't run with him. Obviously, his size is a problem. He should have honestly caught that first one, I thought, and even had a couple more drops throughout that game. For me, I know Chase Claypool slander will not be tolerated, and I'm not slandering him.
Okay.
But that he looked the most like a rookie of any game this year in that game.
Well, he still ended up with 8 catches for 69 yards. He did well. I mean, he had that really good catch on the sideline where I was like, how the hell did he reach up and catch that one?
That one was beautiful. And then CeeDee Lamb may have even topped him later. That catch on their last drive was insane, man.
On the sideline on that.
That's another stud rookie there. The Cowboys got a good one.
Yes, they did. And Steelers' third down was another story of the game. 5 for 13 on third down, 0 for 2 on fourth down, less than the 8 for 17 and 0 for 1 on fourth down for the Dallas Cowboys, but they were obviously had way more success in the running game. Their third downs were on short yardage, and they were just converting. They were converting a lot with their legs as well. Whether they had to run for 2 yards, one day they ran for like 6 yards. I'm like, damn it, we need Alu in there.
Yeah, dude, no doubt. It was very evident. If you run back the tape to our talk last week, we said this was kind of Bugs' chance to shine and to step up and prove that he belonged. And I don't know. I can't confidently say that he did that. Yeah. I come out of this game just thinking that they missed Alu still and need him back. What he brought to that defense was unexpected, but the difference in the run defense when he's in versus when he's out is now, you can't deny it anymore. It's very clear that his impact is being felt and missed.
And the defense still played a good game. I know they were getting gashed with the run, but still had 2 sacks in the game. Highsmith with his first sack, Watt and Hayward combining for a half sack on that big sack on the fourth down, which should have iced the game. I know we'll talk about that at length, but still 7 tackles for loss, and NFL leading tackles for loss player Vince Williams extended with another 2.
Yeah, I mean, decent game for the defense. The one guy you didn't mention that I thought Well, not to spoil the game balls, but Minka, I feel like Minka was finally Minka again, making some huge
Yes.
plays, some splashy turnovers, and everything that you expect from him. He
Mhm.
was kind of all over the place. Continued, now 2 weeks in a row with pretty solid play. The things that I love from Minka as well were some great open field tackles, man. He got Amari
Yeah.
Cooper in the open field on one that I thought for sure Amari was going to take for a huge, huge gain.
Yeah.
Minka made a beautiful play wrapping him up and stopping that before it could really get anywhere. So huge game from him. Like you said,
Mm.
the sacks, that's low, honestly. I thought they were going to get a lot more sacks than they did, and it wasn't even until late that the pass rush really started getting home at all. So that was a frustrating aspect of the game in general. I think last week we had the line on TJ Watt sacks at 2, and I went over for sure. I think you either said he would get 2.
I set the line. I said 2's got to be
Yeah.
at least the line, what it's going to be. I'd like it to be more. One of these days he's going to have a 4 or 5 sack game, and we're just all going to love it as Steeler fans. But
yeah, so we were a little off there, but
well, that quarterback, they did a smart job, and I'm like, well, I guess they're trying to throw whatever quarterback in now, but this is their most mobile quarterback left. He had a lot of American AAF football experience. He was really good with them. I don't know if he won the championship, but I thought he got to the championship in that one. But I mean, he was getting the ball out quickly. He was bootlegging. He was moving in the pocket. He's running for first downs. And that was a problem for the Steelers because they weren't really keying on the quarterback moving. They were only keying on Ezekiel Elliott, or they were trying to, and then everybody else started gashing him.
Yeah, he had those back-to-back runs early, and I was like, it's going to be one of those games, man. It was the worry all along, but you just had that feeling. He was escaping, Mondo had him dead to rights at the one play, and he just spun out of it and broke it off for a nice gain. It was just one of those games. And any Steelers fan who's watched the team for any years knows exactly what that means. It's just one of those games. But the crucial difference being they still found a way to win this time. So that's the difference between this team and some teams of years past that I've watched, is that this team still will grit it out and just find a way to win. There's something to be said about finding a way to win, man. I think especially in the NFL, like the box score never tells the whole story. You just have to watch this game to see how they don't quit, how the defense actually ramped up as the game came on the line.
It did.
The higher the stakes, the better everybody played, Ben included. So that's huge. That kind of clutch factor, if you will, you can't really overstate how important that is and how important that will be in big games, which, they have plenty of those left.
And again, extending that 1 sack in 65 straight games, still number 2 all time in the NFL.
What's number 1? What number?
I haven't seen it yet. I haven't gotten that number yet. I'll have to look that up.
They got to get to it.
Yeah, one of these weeks we'll get it. But it's
I can't fathom them not getting a sack in a game. Like I just can't imagine that happening.
Right now with this team,
forever.
I'm with you. I'm with you. Vince Williams, now the 11th player to have 14 plus TFLs in his first 8 games. First to do it since Chandler Jones, and he's there with J.J. Watt, Von Miller, DeMarcus Ware, and Jared Allen. So that's a big list of, Hall of Fame caliber players there to go with our Vince Williams for TFL leads.
That's not bad at all. And dude, okay, so I just Googled it. The record for most consecutive games with at least 1 sack is very nice. Very nice, Strikers. 69 games. Tampa Bay Buccaneers from 1999 to 2003. So obviously some elite defenses there that Mike Tomlin was actually a part of. So
yes, it was.
Good for you, Mike, being a part of both of these. So yeah, 69. What'd you say they were at now? 65?
65.
Okay. They're going to get it. They'll get it.
They got a chance of passing that this season. That's great. That is
there you
awesome.
Go.
That is awesome. And going down through, obviously, Minka had a huge game, 6 tackles, an interception, 2 passes defense, a fumble recovery, though Watt, I think he's only credited with that half sack on the tackle, but 3 passes defense, man. He was still impactful, still in the backfield, changing plays, knocking balls down. Watt just finds a way to make splash plays, even if he's not racking up tackles or racking up sacks.
That's it, man. And that's exactly kind of what I was alluding to earlier with the team as a whole. It's like even whenever their bread and butter isn't working, or even whenever things aren't optimal, they're still finding ways to be very good and impactful. So TJ is really the perfect example of that. He wasn't getting home on the pass rush. So what does he do? Start putting his hands up. Okay, Gilbert's getting the ball out super fast. What did they do to Ben all year? We talked about it several times on this show when he's getting the ball out fast, how to disrupt that. So Watt obviously adjusted on the fly and made that happen. So kudos to him. Plus, TJ Watt is now officially in the James Harrison category of getting held on every single play and it doesn't get called. Like,
Yeah,
it's ridiculous to watch.
I saw that neck tackle on one of their deep plays down the middle. And,
Yeah.
I mean, he's clearly like this. The guy's like, Watt's all the way behind him. He's got like an arm around his neck like this and falls down with his legs out. I mean, I'm like, God, that's a freaking hole.
Dude, it's ridiculous. I mean, but at the same time,
we were used to seeing that with Harrison, though. You're right.
For real. But, and like, at the same time, what do? You want them to literally throw a flag every other play? Like, no. I don't necessarily want to see that either, but it's frustrating, obviously, whenever it's a big gain for them and he's just getting harassed.
And I remember you and I talking last week, we were saying, you know, what is going to keep this game close? How would this game stay close at all? Turnover differential and special teams. I mentioned big returns, and man, did they had 2 huge returns. One a punt return, one a kick return, and you know they were lucky that they were able to limit both of those to field goals instead of touchdowns.
Absolutely.
Because that's what kept the game close. Big plays, and they were killing us in all special teams. Their kick block annihilated us. We'll get into that a little bit later. I got a video breakdown on that.
Nice.
But my gosh, was that just – it was disgusting how they were in the backfield on every single kick except for the first extra point that he just shanked himself.
Dude, the kick return was inexcusable, but that punt return was actually just beautiful, man. I loved that. I hated it. I hated it at the time.
The throwback, especially when he faked hurting his hamstring.
Dude,
and like everybody just ran away from it. He just runs down.
The whole setup there was actually pretty beautiful. That was awesome.
From a football, you know, strategy-loving perspective, which we are, it sucks that it happened against it, but they executed it perfect.
And the balls of a team that's struggling the way they are against an 8-0 team to go for something like that. Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah.
You know, it was one of those things that like you just got to respect it. It was a hell of a good play. So kudos to them on pulling that off. But yeah, man, like you said, special teams in general was a disaster in that game. You got the missed field goals, missed extra point rather, blocked extra point. He's back.
I had to leave. My cat's like screaming at me because we have one of these cat doors that you can lock one side. And I guess my daughter locked one side, which is why it smells like cat pee in the studio today.
That's nice. Nice fragrance, bro.
She can now get out as opposed to still meowing the entire time we're on air. But
that's great.
Looking here through, I mean, they did a good job on their end. I mean, Gilbert, give him credit, 21 for 38, 243 yards, touchdown and interception. He spread the ball out fairly well. I mean, running-wise, too, I still think we did a pretty good job. We wanted to keep, you know, Ezekiel Elliott under 80 yards. He was at 51. But Tony Pollard had 57. Gilbert added 28 with himself, too. And, yeah, it seemed a little bigger than what it was. But still, I think the Steelers did a good job of keying in on Ezekiel Elliott and trying to limit him.
Yeah, I mean, he was okay. What he had like less than 3 yards per attempt, I think, but
2.8.
There you go. So that's good.
So
if you can hold Zeke to that, that's always a good time. But obviously, he and Pollard and, like you said, Gilbert too. They all had pretty crucial runs at times that just felt like some runs that the Steelers defense wasn't giving up earlier this year. So I'm not saying it's a problem yet. I don't feel that it's a problem. Not super concerned. But the rush defense in those first couple weeks compared to, you know, the last 2-3 weeks is definitely a little different. So would like to see them shore that up. If that's a Lulu, if that's 100% Tyson's impact, that would be great. Getting him back and changing that, cool. If that's the fix, awesome. If it's something deeper than that, though, it's not something you want to see linger.
And here's a new stat for you too, Hunter. Steelers have just rallied from 2 second-half deficits to win back-to-back on the road for the first time since 1953.
I didn't even know the Steelers existed in 53. We don't talk about that.
33, baby, they started. Thank you, Bob Pompiani, for that great stat.
I thought they started in 1970. I don't acknowledge anything pre-1970.
Well, you know, Yinzers, I understand, but my dad, my grandfather, they definitely understand the 33 Steelers. Well, actually, the 33 Pirates. I don't think they became the Steelers for like 3 years.
Sad times.
Yeah. But Mike Tomlin also has a big feat. He ties Marty Schottenheimer for the most with 14 straight seasons of not having a losing season.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Only one other coach has done it. It's Marty Schottenheimer. And the way this team's playing, he's got a shot at doing 15.
Dude, it's crazy. I mean, people need to honestly realize how hard that is. Obviously, if only 2 coaches have ever done it, it's extremely hard. But B, like, you see a game like that Cowboys game and realize how even when you have one of the elite best teams versus one of the worst teams, the parity in the NFL is insane. Any team can play with any team on any week. So to have a string of seasons, non-losing seasons that long, it's remarkable. And then you throw in injuries or guys retiring, a bad draft, just whatever nonsense can happen throughout a season to just disrupt everything. And last season was the one that they should have had a losing season. And even then they find a way to make it happen. And honestly, one of the things that I feel like gets forgotten last year is even the 2 games that Ben played, they lost. Like, Ben went 0-2 last year. So not only did they go 8-8, but they really went like 8-6 with their backups, which was amazing.
Yeah. And another amazing thing that you have to put this in perspective, 14 non-losing seasons means you haven't been drafting anywhere near the tops. And look at all the talent on this roster that they have drafted low. I mean, they're drafting the back. You get TJ Watt and like pick 30 the one year. You get Hayward late. You get Tuitt in the 2nd round late. Juju, all of our receivers came late. I mean, this team has just done a phenomenal job. Tomlin, Colbert, and all the scouts, just to be able to find these players that fit their system, fit it well, and to continue the winning and all-pro, Pro Bowl caliber players when you're drafting in the back half of the draft for the past 14 years.
It's crazy, man. I mean, Shazier was one of the highest draft picks in recent years, so that was like 15. So
yeah, well, other than having to move up to 10 to grab Bush, we traded up 10 spots. We traded up to 20. Of course. I mean, we would have been drafting 20 that year.
It's not, I mean, but that's what you're looking at. You're usually drafting in the back half of the draft, which, like you said, you're not getting that elite. There's guys I'm sure they've wanted that they simply had to pass up that they couldn't get. But at the same time, it works for them. Like, part of me wonders if they had a 1st-round pick last year, would they have ended up with Chase Claypool, or would they have taken a different receiver first in round 1 and then gone a different direction in round 2? Like, in a way, maybe they're just adapting and that, this is just working for them. They're obviously, I mean, unquestionably one of the best front offices in football. So that's what you get. You get non-losing seasons.
And you look at this draft too. This is a draft where we did not have a 1st rounder because of the Minkah Fitzpatrick. Thank you for having Minkah. We love our 1st rounder, but everybody that they picked is on the roster and they're contributing now. So this is one of the few times I remember like reading out some other blog posts and tweets. I don't know if it's ever happened where every single player has made the roster at one point during the season. This might be a first for the Steelers, which is big considering they didn't have a 1st-round draft pick.
That is kind of crazy to think of. Is Antoine Brooks, has he been active yet?
He just got activated last week.
Wow, I totally missed that. Good for him.
He got called up the week before for a game day activation and dropped back down the practice squad, and then he made the now he's on the roster since they dropped they got rid of Wisniewski. Stefan Wisniewski.
Okay. Dude, I totally missed that, but I did not miss Carlos Davis.
And Trey Edmonds dropping off the roster too.
Yeah, I did. I caught that.
Yeah.
Carlos Davis, I saw his name getting called a few times during the game. Nice to see him getting some reps. Nothing to get too excited about yet, but cool to see his name popping up and cool of him to get that opportunity. Like you said, the future seems extremely bright, man. I mean, Claypool and Dotson are 2 that I'm incredibly excited about. And there's just other Highsmith,
man. Highsmith looked really good. I don't know if you guys were watching him this game, but both in the running game and the passing game, he was on point. He looked amazing this past game. He had a couple moves to get in. The sack was beautiful. He's in the backfield to help with the run game as well. So I really appreciated his effort. And looking at that, I mean, he's got a higher floor than Bud Dupree had. I mean, I honestly think Bud Dupree has a higher ceiling than just about any linebacker we've ever had. The guy's just an athletic freak. But as far as floor starting off right away, he looks a lot better than Bud did coming out of the gates, and he's got a high motor. And that kind of fits, that TJ Watt mold as well. So
Imagine that.
good guy to learn from.
Dude, it's funny too, like the Bud comparison. I do not want to lose Bud. Like, I want them to be able to re-sign Bud and figure out a way to keep him. But Alex Highsmith, week over week, is convincing me that won't be a massive problem if it happens. He is looking more and more ready every week. You know, some weeks you're like, okay, he came in and made a splashy play. But like you said, last week, if you watch every snap, man, he was very good. And
back in coverage. I mean, he's looking good.
The dude's been good, and you can only expect that he's going to get better and better rapidly because he was a super raw guy coming out of college. So those are the kind of guys that if they put it together, the ceiling, you know, approaches it very fast because they do have the athleticism and the raw talent, but just need some refinement. And he's that kind of guy, and it looks like he's getting that refinement already. Like you said, playing with TJ and Bud every day, practicing with them every day, that can't hurt a young player's development.
So game ball time. Who's your offensive game ball, Hunter?
I spoiled it earlier, man, but it's definitely Juju for me in this one. Juju not only coming up huge late, but just his attitude. I've been loving Juju all year. You guys know that, listen to the show. But that was kind of his game. To me, he's been Ben's safety valve, whatever you want to call it. He's just been so reliable when they need a play. And, man, did they need those plays in that one, or else they don't escape Dallas with an undefeated record. So definitely Juju for me.
For me, it's got to be Ben. I mean, another on-the-road 10-point deficit, busting his legs, limping the entire rest of the game, coming through clutch as a mofo.
Yeah.
This guy just always delivers. And this is the season. It's like, I never feel like Ben is ever out of it this year. I mean, I felt more scared right when he first got hurt, and then he got that touchdown. I'm like, well, I hope he comes back in this sometime this season. And then he's like, oh, he's back out the second half. It's like, that's just quintessential Ben. So that's got to be my game ball.
Super fair.
And then for defense, who's your defensive game ball?
Gonna take Minka on that one too. That, like I said earlier, you know, that was his game. That was the Minka game we've been waiting for. Not just the turnovers and the splash, but also, like I said, those open field tackles. He had quite a few of them where I was kind of concerned about his tackling earlier in the season. You know, he was kind of going for the huge hit instead of wrapping up or being safe, but super short tackler in that game. Everything all around Minka, week over week, seems to be getting back to himself. So that's good news for the Steelers.
Yeah. Defense for me, Vince Williams, man. Vince Williams has been a tackle machine, led the team in tackles with 8 last game, 2 TFLs. He's still doing it, man.
Nice.
I just love watching Vince. Just looks faster this year. People saying you can't cover, he covers. He does a pretty good job on the running backs, pretty good job minimizing, you know, slot receivers and tight ends. Unfortunately, when it gets matched up on them. But, you know, I couldn't be more surprised, to tell you the truth, about Vince Williams really separate, except for maybe Tyson Alualu.
Right.
In this, you know, defense among alpha dogs.
Yeah.
You've got 2 guys that are showing and that they're really excellent in this system and contributing in ways that I didn't think they'd ever be able to contribute. And I'm loving watching it. I
definitely agree with you, man. And along those same lines, I feel like this is another week where Terrell Edmonds had a super solid showing.
Yes.
We haven't been hearing his name or seeing him lagging, and really that's what you want from him. He's been super responsible, just maintaining his assignments. He's playing the way that you would want Terrell Edmonds to play within that system. So don't sleep on his development, I feel like, Steeler Nation, because I know he's a guy that everybody likes to crap on and feel like it was a wasted pick or a bust or this and that, but dude, he's low-key putting it together just like Bud Dupree did. So who knows where his ceiling is going to be. I still don't think we've seen it.
No, definitely not. No, the guy is amazing. So moving on to Mike Tomlin's press conference, we've got a couple things to talk to. Obviously, big things with COVID happening. First things first, though, Avery Williamson will get reps this week, obviously, with Vince Williams being out with the COVID. He was rostered for the game last week. He was active, but he didn't play. It was kind of an emergency situation, so they throw him in if something would have happened to Vince or to Spillane in the center. But fortunately, didn't have to use him. But it was his first game back. It was his first day really with the team since he just got there Saturday because he had to clear COVID. So look for him to get a lot more used to it. When I interviewed him last week and talked to him directly, I noticed every season he had special team snaps. So that's how you get to play for the Steelers. You show you're playing on special teams, you're on the roster, and you're going to get in the game.
I
So
feel like we're kind of the special teams show. I feel like we talk about that a lot. And people don't care about it, but it's like especially for rookies or fringe roster guys. I heard a quote of somebody, the NBA G League, like the developmental league.
yeah,
He said that a problem that a lot of those guys have is that they're playing to prove that they're a superstar in the NFL, or in the NBA rather. But what they need to play as is somebody that any NBA team can rely on. Like if you're in
yes,
the G League, you're not going to be James Harden. You're going to be the 10th
yeah,
guy on the bench that they might need for rotational purposes.
yeah,
So that's how I feel about special teams in the NFL is like,
yes.
you're not the superstar, but you can secure a spot on that 53-man roster and have a long, nice career by being an ace on special teams. I mean, Jordan Dangerfield being the prime example. If he was not what he is on special teams, he would have been cut seasons ago. Instead, he has a really nice career for the Steelers.
And we always have that big guy, whether it's Matakavitz or Chidi Iwuma. I mean, we always have that big special teams guys that makes all the plays for us.
Yeah.
So, kudos to him as well. One other comment too. I need to touch base quickly on Jordan Berry as well. He had another monster punting game last game. I mean, yeah, they turned that one punt into like a lateral return for a big return that could have been a touchdown, but that wasn't his fault. I mean, he put that ball in the corner deep, lots of hang time. Everybody was down there and they just shot it over the next guy. So, kudos to their play call on that one, but he's been hitting 50. There's I think two punts where the guy was turning around to run backward because it got over the guy's head. So I'm like, that's what you need out of a punter. We were not getting that from Colquitt. We were getting like 30-yarders out of Colquitt. And, we were used to seeing 1 punt out of 4 for Barry before, but these past 3 games, he's been an integral part of these wins, getting us the field position that we need to win these games and pinning people back.
For sure. He's looked good, man. He's definitely booming them, but leave it to Barry to like outkick his coverage. Like the dude can't win. Like, okay, now you're hitting it 70 yards, but they're returning it to midfield. But like you said, that one really wasn't his fault. As we talked about earlier, it was just, that was a beautiful play design, but yeah, Barry, good job.
So injury-wise, Ben Roethlisberger, obviously we talked about. Tomlin went ahead and said, I'm not worried about him at all for being able to play this game from a physical performance. Derek Watt also was a surprise pull right there at game time because he practiced. It looked like he was full practice all last week and must have tweaked something. He had a setback. So, I mean, because they released Terrell Edmonds, it's like, you think he's a full go. But
Trey,
thank you. Yeah, wrong Edmonds. Thank you. Boop.
Boop. Air horn.
So, but having him back on, we were full bore. It's like, yep, we got Watt. We're good to go. And then we didn't have Watt, and it kind of hurt the running game. But we'll see if he practices this week. Tomlin does expect both Tyson and Mike Hilton to return to practice this week, which is great news.
Very nice.
Because both of them help out tremendously in the running game, because that's one thing that we take for granted and that we don't really think about is how good Mike Hilton is at getting tackles in the running game, being as small size as he is, but he's also able to defend the pass. So he's a nice hybrid player, like a money backer, so to speak, being able to play behind the line of scrimmage and defend people. So
how many games in our post-game podcast earlier in the season were we talking about Mike Hilton as being the game ball for the defense or the best player on the defense through X games? Like the way the guy has stepped up this season. And like you just said, people may sleep on his run stopping, but I know who does not sleep on his run stopping is Mike Tomlin. If you listen to him talk about Mike Hilton or any post-game press conference talking about how he's been missed in stopping the run, it's weird because you don't usually think of a cornerback as being a run stopper, but he absolutely is. He's super disruptive in the backfield. That's what he does super well. So like you said, they're missing him in that capacity. That, along with Tyson, is probably the reason why the run defense – I mean, it's a perfect makes perfect sense. Getting them back would obviously be huge, would be a good time to shore that up.
And Tomlin's been echoing that point 2 weeks in a row. Now, for the COVID aspect, guys, we got a positive COVID test. It looks like Vance McDonald – he had an illness last week on Friday. He missed practice. They were testing him. He was negative for COVID the entire way through the game. He got tested before the game. Obviously, they don't get the results until after the game, but that was the result that came back positive. So it turned out he did have COVID. Now they have to contact trace. So Ben Roethlisberger, Jalen Samuels, Vince Williams, and Gerald Hawkins are the 4 players that are on 5-day watch. They cannot come to the facility. They can only do everything virtually. They have to get tested every day. And if they are clean for those 5 days, Saturday they can return to the walkthroughs. Sunday they can play. And Vance is on a 10-day since he was the one that was positive. It's not a false positive. He is out for 10-day minimum, so he's going to miss this first game. Can come back at the earliest, I think, next Wednesday or Thursday.
Yeah. Can just hope for negative tests to come back throughout the week and allow them to play, because obviously, you know, Hawkins and Samuels, sorry guys, no offense, would not be huge losses, but Ben and Vince are two guys. You don't want to head into that game without those two guys. So yeah, so Steelers fan, I mean, what can you do, dude? We talked about it all season. We knew this was going to be a weird season. Tomlin has said as much. All the players have said as much. It was going to happen at some point, and now it's the Steelers' turn to deal with some COVID-related stuff. I just hope that they get a bye week like the Titans did, dude. I don't know about you.
Yeah, COVID bye week. That would be beautiful now. Yeah, if everybody gets sick, we keep getting positives, we'll have a COVID bye week.
Yeah, but, right. Spread
it. At least kudos to you know, Colbert as well, going out getting Avery Williamson, because he might be starting this weekend because of COVID. So
who knew?
Yeah, we did not know that in the past, but they just wanted to shore up the place where we had the most need for depth, and now it's not an issue. So for this game, kudos.
Think about if they didn't do that, though, where they would be. I mean, that's a great example of just kind of like the foresight of the team being like, hey, we know he's not a starter, like he's not going to be a huge impact player, but this is an area where our depth is weak. And 1 week later, it might be getting tested. So,
he is a starter. The guy is a starter. He's got 4 seasons over 100 tackles. He was on pace with 58 before they pulled him in 7 games. So he was on pace for over 100 tackles with the Jets.
Oh, absolutely. Starter caliber. I meant he wasn't going to be a starter on the team, right?
Oh, yes. You're right. You're right. Yeah. And the last point that Mike Tomlin wanted to make as well is, with Ben out this week, he's going to be looking at Mason and Dobbs as possible replacements if Ben does not play. So it's not just hey, this is Mason's ball, he's going to take it and he's going to be our backup. This is a Mason and Dobbs situation came out of Tomlin's mouth, and that's something he usually does not do in pressers.
Very true. And all I hear when I hear that is a big, huge red flag. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I don't like the sounds of that. I don't like the options behind Ben. I still don't. I don't love Dobbs. I may like Dobbs a little more than Mason, to be honest with you guys, especially after seeing Mason come in for Ben against the Cowboys. It was the same Mason, the same problems that I always felt plagued him, which is zero awareness in the pocket, no pocket presence, and a weak. His passes noticeably float. Like, compared to Ben's, you just watch, the ball does not come out of his hand the same. The strength, the arm strength is not there in that capacity. And dude, but the pocket awareness is by far his worst trait, and it did not look any better. Albeit super limited reps, I'll give you that. But you would have hoped to see a better looking Mason Rudolph than that. It inspired zero confidence if that's the guy against the Bengals. I'll put it that way.
Well, he still got us the 3 yards we needed to get that field goal. So you can hang that on his hat. He's 1 for 1 on scoring drives.
Hey, probably has a perfect passer rating or something too.
Right. So, well, no, that one though, he missed that lob pass, which was, I was like, wow, why did he throw that?
All right.
But looking at Cincinnati now, we're going into having, which I am the most afraid of this matchup. This is one that I've looked on the calendar being like, well, they are kind of a wild card. They've got really tall receivers across the board. Everybody's like over 6'3", and they've got this brand new quarterback in Joe Exotic Burrow, and he's getting the ball to all his Bengal Tigers. And, you know, so you can see this as being a potential problem for the Steelers as a matchup, because, you know, I mean, you're even going down through like Auden Tate. It's like 6'4", and, you know, you got AJ Green, you got Ross, I mean, this is just a tall team.
Yeah, I mean, Tyler Boyd obviously thrown in there. T. Higgins, the standout rookie. This dude has come out and kind of set the league on fire a little bit as well. He's 6'4". Like, dude, they do. They're tall receivers. They're beastly receivers. They're looking good. Burrow looks amazing. I hate to say it, Steelers fans, but that dude's going to be a problem in the league. He's already better than Baker. Yeah. I mean, on it, that's a little tongue-in-cheek, but also I'm kind of serious maybe. So, I mean, they go out, they beat Tennessee last week, which is obviously a huge win, But
Yeah.
here's
Yes.
the key factor in that. You only have to look at one stat to know how that happened, why that happened. Joe Burrow did not get sacked against the Titans at all. 0 sacks allowed. And
Wow.
their offensive line has been tragic all season. I'll read you some numbers. 3 sacks, 3 sacks. Week 3 against the Eagles, they allowed 8 sacks. 1, 7 against Baltimore. 2, 4, and then 0. So the one game that they keep Burrow upright, funny how that works. A quarterback plays better whenever he's not getting smacked in the face. So you can look at this 2 ways. The Eagles, they allowed 8 sacks, and the Ravens, they allowed 7 sacks. Those are 2 very good pass rushes that the Steelers would compare favorably to.
Yes.
So the 2 times that they faced a truly elite pass rush, they got crushed. But also, in their most recent game, the offensive line kind of got its act together and kept Burrow upright. So their offensive line is improving, but it still hasn't, the Titans pass rush is nothing to get excited about at all. It's actually very weak this year.
Yeah.
So it was probably a little column A, little column B. Offensive line playing a little better, also playing a worse pass rush. I don't think they're going to blank the Steelers, but if the Steelers can't get Burrow on his back 3+ times, he's going to do some work, man. The dude's good. He's talented. They have weapons, so could quickly turn into a shootout.
Yeah, if they get him on his back, and the problem with the Steelers too is you're rushing from so many different places. Kind of like the Baltimore Ravens as well. They're the same. They've got a lot of different guys. They don't really have that one rally up guy. I mean, we have Watt and Bud, but I mean, everybody can get a sack on this team. I think there's like 8, 9 players with sacks.
Right.
So that's the most difficult thing to defend is when you have a lot of different people that can put your quarterback on the ground as opposed to just 1 or 2.
And if Hilton's back this week, that's obviously another guy that will get after the quarterback. I mean, Burrow, they're going to have a rough time with that, but every team in the NFL is going to have a rough time with that against the Steelers this year. Dallas did a great job getting the ball out quickly and everything. The thing is with Cincy's, those tall receivers that kind of stretch the field, those, the deeper routes obviously take more time to develop. That could put Burrow in danger if they can't work out some more intermediate kind of quick passing routes. So we'll see what they do, man. I'm right with you though. It's not a layup. It's not the Bengals. No. Their record's a little deceiving. They're better than their record. Obviously playing in arguably the best division in football, if not the best division in football, right there at the NFC West. You can debate those 2 all day, but it's one of the 2. And they've lost some games against good competition because of that. So no shame there, but beating the Titans is nothing to sneeze at. So the Bengals are looking a lot better this year. Burrow worries me a little bit. They need to get to him early and often, and I think they'll be fine. The flip side of it being that the Bengals defense is still kind of trash this year.
Yeah.
Nothing to get too worried about there. The Steelers should be able to hang up points.
Are they still getting any pass rush consistently?
I don't know, actually. I'd have
Atkins still on there?
Yeah, Atkins is still there. He's getting old.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, I mean, he's
I always know Gino's a tough guy to deal with. But
yeah, dude's a monster. But for the most part, they're still allowing over 400 yards a game. So the Steelers should be able to feast on offense. And if Burrow gets going, hey, your best versus our best. Let's do it. Let's have a little showdown.
Yeah, hopefully Ben can come back and show everybody that he's home, Ben, and have a great time and a fun time and get us up so we're just pin our ears back and pass rush Joe Burrow all day. I'd love that because
dude,
it'd give our defense time to feast.
I'd rather have Garrett Gilbert at this point, I think, honestly, like backing up Ben.
Oh, gosh.
Give me that guy. I was impressed.
Yeah, a lot of Steeler Nation is saying that right now, too. So now it is time, Steeler Nation, for questions from Steeler Nation. SteelerNation.com forum. If you go over to SteelerNation.com, sign up, free account. I put up a thread every week, say, what are your questions? And we answer them now. You can also ask on Twitter here live, ask on Facebook Live. We will field those questions as we are talking. And first question I want to get to is Steve A. He says, our offensive line has had issues opening holes and not assisting our running backs, letting the D get in the backfield, making our running backs look pedestrian. Yet Ben has adjusted to getting the ball out quickly and has been sacked less than ever. Ben is thriving in spite of the O-line. And at the same time, our lack of running game is being exposed. So to me, I think this is more of a scheme and execution thing. I mean, we were obviously expecting to go into that game with a fullback. We didn't. and it
Yeah.
kind of changed what we were trying to do. Schematically wise, too, something that I noticed, I don't know if you did, but we always run that jet sweep, that fake jet sweep. I think we ran that 8 or 9 times before we finally handed it off to somebody, and Dallas was not biting on it at all. Like,
Yeah.
we ran that. If we give that to the receiver a couple times early, that's going to slow down their A-gap blitzes because
Yep.
that's where they were killing us.
Yeah, I mean, the run game was obviously very sad, and like the question said, the run blocking was just atrocious all game. You can't listen, part of it is the running back, but you can't expect a running back running into a wall of 4 defenders to get anywhere. You know, you got to make lanes. The offensive line has to do its job. I mean, it's funny, like saying that Ben hasn't been getting sacked much, but like you said, it's a totally different scheme, totally different idea on passing downs. They need to generate more push for sure in the running game to help these guys out, because Connor had a pretty bad game. Obviously, Snell and McFarland both got stuffed on 3rd and 1 and then 4th and 1 on consecutive plays. They just got completely stuffed. Connor got stuffed late on a 4th and 1. The one you were saying there at the end of the game that you thought would have iced the game, there was just no push at all. So like you,
Yeah.
I'm a little concerned about the run blocking for sure, but also think they can get it figured out. And also, they don't necessarily need a power run game. It's not something that this offense, I don't think they need that to thrive. Is it awesome to rely on that sometimes? Yes, absolutely. And it does help open up the passing game. But as you saw in that Cowboys game, Ben is more than happy to just take little 4-yard slants, get the ball around, you know, dish it around, use his whole arsenal of weapons. And, you know, the short passes are kind of runs. I've even heard the coaches describe it as that, using that as your running game if the run game isn't working. So I'm not super concerned about it, but I get the question for sure. It was a problem against the Cowboys.
Cooley Man wants to know, so what is your view on Dallas defender jumping over the offensive line to disrupt the kicking game, and was it illegal? So here's my film session.
Nice. Let's do it.
So everybody up here that's on Facebook Live watching it, you can watch the replay here on YouTube once we get that up at around by 6 o'clock tonight. But here is what I've broken down when I did a hidden plays for the week. That's the article coming out tomorrow, but the video's already up. If you watch this, there's a guy right here. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Number 98. His name is Tyrone Crawford. He was killing us on the defensive line. He lines up to the left of the long snapper this time, right on the guard. Rules are you cannot line up head up on the long snapper anymore. That's an automatic penalty. You also can't run towards the line of scrimmage and jump in the air, because if you touch anyone, it's an automatic first down now. That changed in 2017. But if you start on the line of scrimmage, you can jump a lineman or you can jump a gap to get into the backfield. Now, this is the first extra point that we took, and this is the best blocking that we did, because this is the only time Mr. Crawford didn't end up in the backfield. And we watch him come up. He gets wedged pretty well. He jumps, but, I mean, we got a little bit of the shanks there on that one, unfortunately. Second kick, this is the first time that we tried to kick the field goal when it was at 44 yards or 43 yards, 44 yards, yeah.
54,
so 50,
right?
Sorry, 54 yards. Thank you for correcting my dyslexia.
Gotcha.
And right here, you have Crawford lining up on the right-hand side. Now, you see he's down on the other side of the guard this time. So he's actually lined up on the tackle. And this was their best formation, because this is the one where they shift right before the ball is kicked. We stand up, and that's why we got flagged and moved back another 5 yards. So if you watch this play as it comes through, like that shift is just beautiful. You have 4 guys slide down. He gets up. His hand is up there, but the kick wasn't straight and didn't hit his hand. The replay that came back was the biggest kick in Steeler history. I'm pausing it right here. You have him lined up on the right-hand side again, and he shoots the gap, coming left between the long snapper and the guard, and watch him just hurdle. I mean, he's well in the backfield. Somehow that ball comes around him.
Yeah.
Like, he's 3 yards in the backfield, and that ball made it around him and somehow made it through. And the last kick was on the extra point, where he lines up on the left. He jumps over the guy and whacks the ball. This is why the Steelers did not want to kick the ball at all going down for the rest of this game. And that was it for us. It's like, we are done. We're not going to be showing that anymore. We're going to try to go for it. But in that situation, getting the first down was a 100% victory. That was the only play you could run there that assured victory. You kick a field goal, it's 8 points up. They got a chance to come down and score again. Miss a field goal, they still have to score a touchdown. Worst case scenario, they block it and run it back for a touchdown. That was the only thing that was avoided by going for it.
What I hate about it, the decision to not kick it, is that it's exactly Mike Tomlin doing what he always says he'll never do and living in his fears. That is textbook living in your fears. You cannot do it.
Oh, well said. Yeah, I wish this is one I wish that we were in there and able to ask questions in the Zoom, because I was thinking the exact same thing.
He did. He lived in his fears. I don't care.
Well, I understand you didn't kick a field goal on fourth down. Is this an example of living in your fears? But it's not. This is actually an example of noticing that Tyrone Crawford had your number. He was in the backfield 3 out of 4 kicks.
Yeah.
And you're just not going to – I mean, it's as a when you're watching games and you're just like, well, that's the dumbest thing ever. But then you break down the film and it's like it's plain as day.
It's nice. I mean, it was well done. It was very well executed on their part. But that's crazy to see that you couldn't make that adjustment mid-game or figure something out. Like you said, to start the show, the special teams was just terrible in that game. They got to be better moving forward. Okay,
question from Hines, 57. What does the offense need to do to get the running game going and points on the board in the first half? Our slow, sluggish starts were thankfully able to overcome the last couple weeks, but you can't continue to fall behind and win games. We certainly would not want to fall behind 10 or 13 points to KC in a playoff game. Yeah. So what are your thoughts on that, Hunter?
Well, I would for sure, like I just said, how short passes can act as runs. I would love to see more short passes early. It seems like they like opening up with deep shots. They certainly did against the Cowboys. They threw 2 deep balls right away that led, to them needing to punt. Neither of them connected. The one on Claypool that you said you felt like should have been DPI, which definitely could have been.
Yeah.
But I feel like, okay, we've seen the Steelers offense when it's in a rhythm, when they're moving the ball, when they're just spreading it around, hitting quick passes, getting rolling. Just do that from the onset. I don't feel like you need to come out and try to establish the run or establish the deep ball or do this and that. Just start moving the ball. It opens up everything whenever the offense is humming. So I feel like I would love to see more of that even distribution, just short, quick passes, get the ball moving, get some momentum going. That'll open everything up. But whenever you come out with the Fichtner classic run, pass, it's easy to stop for whenever you have no momentum and you're just trying to run the ball. And like we said, run blocking is not this line's strong suit early on in the season. It's not going to go anywhere. And then what? Now you've established that you can't run on them. Now they know you're going to pass. So now you've just made your job that much harder. Just come out, be balanced from the get-go. I feel like I said, throw quick passes, open it up, spread it around early, get them thinking early. And then once they're thinking and on their heels, that's when you can find success in literally anything you choose to do.
And for me also, I'm ready for this team just to go straight K-gun, run and shoot, man. Because
I'm in.
That is what Ben does best, and it's the only time our offense is always moving the football. Connor would really fit well in that Thurman Thomas role of being a pass catcher and a draw running back, which is we're running out of the draw anyway. So we might as well just be going shotgun, no huddle every freaking play. So, this is something that I think would be very difficult in this day and age to have a team finally develop and try to run K-gun, because it's something that the rules of the game have now allowed every single receiver to be able to have openings whenever they come off the line of scrimmage. You hit them, more than 3 yards down the field. Now it seems like you're getting holding calls or interference calls. So
very true.
This is the time to do it. This is the team to do it with. And it would make sure to get the ball out quickly as well for Ben.
Absolutely.
And last question today, also from Heinz 57, who starts a quarterback for you today? On Sunday, who's going to start a quarterback?
Okay, Ben.
Ben, I'm going to say Ben too. If I had to guess, if it wasn't Ben, I'd probably lean toward Mason being the starter. I don't know if you disagree with me and say Dobbs.
No, I'm right with you. I feel like Mason will start if Ben can't go, but we're all hoping that Ben can go.
Are you sure you don't want to go like the Dallas Cowboys and go off the practice squad and bring in your duck collar?
Dude, man, listen. You guys know me. You guys know that I like Duck. I would rather see Duck than Mason, and I'm being 1,000% serious. That's not a joke. I feel like we've seen what Mason has to offer, and it's just not good. I don't need to see more of it. I'm sorry. Maybe I'm a Mason hater. I don't know what to tell you. I don't like his game.
Well, that's how we do Steeler Nation. If you got a problem with Hunter Homistek and what he just said there about your quarterbacks, You make sure to yell at him at Twitter and Instagram at Hunter A. Homistek.
For sure.
At HunterAhomistek. Hunter,
Come
love you like a
slamming.
brother, man.
Dude,
Always fun.
absolutely. Same to you, dude. And
Yeah,
if I can ruin your outro, we do have a couple Facebook questions that we did.
Oh yes, please.
So I don't want to forget about our friends on Facebook. Obviously.
Anthony.
We got Anthony and Jared chiming in. Of course, Anthony.
I knew Anthony would be there. Anthony!
We're going to hit Anthony here. He says, I know we've had some nail biters, especially 2 back-to-back. Do you see it being more a lack of offense or the defense needing to play a little bit better? So which side of the ball do you feel has been more disappointing in these nail biters? Go ahead, Stryker.
Well, for me, it's been offense starting slowly, and it's been kind of it's been a theme this whole season. Last 3 games, they started slow and got behind in all 3 games pretty much, but found a way to come, except for the Titans game. Sorry, last 2 games. Titans game, they got up like big 17-0 or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, these last couple games, I've got to put it on the scripted play calling and execution from the Randy Fichtner scripted plays. The defense is doing a fine job at holding, keeping them to field goals instead of touchdowns. They're a bend but don't break, and then they make, like you said earlier in the day here, Hunter, I mean, their defense comes up clutch and makes the clutch plays and the splash plays and the big turnovers and the big sacks when they have to, and the big knockdowns too. 2 games in a row, we ended the game knocking down a pass for good old Fitz, knocking down a pass at the end zone, at the goal line. So, I can't be upset with the defense. The defense is doing their part, even with all this heap crap thrown on top of them. So great question there, Anthony.
Yeah, it really is, man. And on the defensive side, it's crazy, and it's a weird split for me because definitely you watch this defense play sometimes and they're getting picked apart or it's this and that. They don't look as dominant as you expect. But then you look around the NFL and that defense doesn't exist anymore. It's funny, man. Like I was just talking about it with my dad. We were talking about the 70s Steelers and watching old Steelers highlights this summer. He was over to visit.
Yeah.
Or this weekend, not this summer. This
cool.
weekend. And so he was just, and we were, going through the old 1976 Steelers stats with their ridiculous shutout streak and everything they had going. Like, that defense does not exist in the modern NFL. It can't. Like, defenses are not as good as
so different now.
The rules are different. The structure's different. The athletes are different. The schemes are different.
Yeah.
So, like, expecting this current Steelers defense to go out there and be completely dominant every game it's just unrealistic. Like, they're going to have moments where they look porous, but the key is that they step up and make these huge plays that you talk about, like batting the ball down at the goal line to end the game, sacking Gilbert late and kind of icing the game, like cranking up the pass rush when they need it. They clearly have these elite elements and are an elite defense. It's just that what an elite defense looks in 2020 is not what you see from 1985. So it's just not the same.
Yeah. So once again, thank you very much, Hunter, for joining us on the podcast, co-host with the most.
Yes.
Guys, Twitter, Facebook, we'll be back here, same bat time, Tuesdays, 2:00 after the presser. This is a big day today. I mean, with all the COVID news that came out today, a couple with not knowing about Ben and his situation. And so everything just hit today. So it's good that we're doing these on Tuesdays instead of Mondays because we've been missing a lot of these meat and potato answers that need questions that need answered to in our podcasts.
For sure.
Cool.
All right, man. Well, I'll see you later. Thanks for the questions and everything, guys. Another good episode. See you next week.
See you next week, Hunter. Visit our title sponsor, Total Sports Enterprises, on Twitter to be part of their signed merch giveaways done every week. This week, make sure you jump on and grab that. Get your chance at that Juju jersey. Good luck, Steeler Nation. Awesome giveaway. Just go to their Twitter page and Total Sports ENT, retweet it, and you're entered. That's easy as that. Comes out tomorrow. You'll know if you won that jersey or not. Also, check out their shop at Total Sports ENT, www.tseshop.com. You too can get great, unique, awesome T-shirts on the SteelerNation.com gear page, like my 6-pack of Lombardis for Steeler Nation. Go to SteelerNation.com to pick up this excellent shirt, whatever size you want. Give it as a gift for the holidays. Wear it to your virtual tailgates. Take it to a game if you're one of the lucky few. But that's the way to show your pride and your Steeler Nation pride is at the SteelerNation.com gear page. SteelerNation.com is the best site for fast, unique Steelers content on the internet. Click the podcast button to listen to one of our many interviews which we just did one with Avery Williamson. Highly, highly recommend it. The vidcast of that is really blowing up, over 7,000 views yesterday. So come on over, and that's the way so you can see them. If you want to see the YouTube, that is our YouTube channel, www.youtube.com/C/SteelerNation. Tweet us at Steeler Nation, Instagram us at SteelerNation.com. Follow the Steeler Nation podcast on Twitter at _SN podcast and Instagram at Steeler Nation podcast. Follow your host, G.Stryker, on Twitter and Instagram at SN Stryker, Stryker spelled with a Y. Thanks for joining us for the SteelerNation.com podcast, sponsored by Total Sports Enterprises. I'm your host, G.Stryker, with Hunter Homistek, rooting along with you, as always. Go Steelers!